I was obviously scared about people knowing about my sexuality. I've been fearful of never achieving my dreams. I got to a point in life I didn't want to be here, and I thought this one night, that was it, what's the point?
What if the real key to happiness is facing your fears and finding the courage to be unapologetically yourself? Today we're honoured to be joined by the incredible Dame Kelly Holmes, double Olympic champion, global motivational speaker and mental health advocate.
I left the army, I had to make a decision. I'm going to leave a career that I've always wanted.
Did you fear judgment?
Oh my God, yeah, always.
For how
That
long?
was a big, in my life.
Has there ever been a moment where you've tried to be someone else? Turn life's darkest moments into a story of authenticity, self-respect and hope. From her years in the British Army to standing on the world stage as an athlete, Kelly's journey is one of great determination and transformation.
When you have fear, all of the thoughts that you have are literally, built up so heavily in your head and heart that you think the worst. It becomes debilitating.
This conversation is raw, it's inspiring, and it's truly life-changing. This episode is sponsored by AdSmart from Sky, making TV advertising affordable, targeted and effective for businesses of all sizes. Let's do this. Can any other fears?
Tarantulas.
Fear of spiders.
Rats. Snakes. What else? Why won't I go on I'm a celeb? 'Cause
ActionCOACH, the help you need to grow your business.
Right.
Superstars. Well, you're a superstar as well. So, I've got some great questions lined up for you, Kelly.
Okay. Hit me.
Who is Kelly Holmes in 30 seconds or less?
Oh my God. Kelly Holmes is a driven, hit the effort switch woman on a mission, who's gone through a big journey, who wants to share that journey to help other people.
You're a sharer. So, on a mission to help other people or something else?
I think, life is a journey. We ride it. We don't really reflect on it many times. We're not in the present much in our life. We keep driving forward, and then you hit certain points in your life where you go, actually, this is who I am, this is what I want to be, this is what I've gone through, this is how I now see the world, and now I want to have more purpose, and I've always had purpose, but I think I'm focused on that purpose now.
Actually, this is who I am. So is that a realisation in the moment?
It's a moment where, for whatever reason, I don't really know what the answer is, but you come to a point in life and you go, no, this is me now. This is what I want to be, who I want to be seen as, what I want to say. And it's quite liberating to get to that point in life.
It is. Oh, yeah, it is a moment, isn't it? How many of those have you had? Have you had just one of them or several of those?
I think at different stages in my career, there has been moments because you transition, don't you? I was in the army. I left the army. I had to make a decision. I'm going to leave a career that I've always wanted. But I was already a great athlete. So I had a purpose was to fulfill another dream. So you go through that. Then you retire and you have to reinvent, reflect or give up, and then you go through different stages in life where moments hit you that are good or bad. And in that time, you don't always know that this is going to come, what's in your head, but you then have to make a decision. Do I keep fighting, striving, or do I just give up and, wallow?
Fighting, striving or wallow?
Yeah, no, I like the fighting, striving.
You are a fighter. Fighting, striving or give up and wallow.
Yeah.
There's another, I don't want to say middle ground here. It's not the right word, but you did say right at the start, you're on a mission. Fighting, striving on the mission.
Always on a mission, aren't I? People tell me to can I just chill out? But I don't like chilling out. I like to be self-driven. I like to learn. I think life is a journey that we learn. I love the place that I'm in at the moment. I've met some wonderful people who've opened my eyes up to realising that actually maybe during my career haven't made the most of opportunities. I haven't bonded with relationships that I could have fulfilled even more. And, I've done so much. People go, oh, you had enough, don't you think you've achieved enough? And I just think, why? I'm not gone. I'm not dead. I'm not. Why? I just, you've got to live your life to still fulfill it.
You're contributing now as well. You're contributing back. And there's various theories out there. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You've probably heard of that in psychology, which is self-actualization at the top. Tony Robbins changed he simplified it, but in there was a series of different levels. I'm going to ask a question for one of the levels rather than telling you, but one of the levels is contribution,
right?
Contributing back, because everyone starts with needs. You've got needs, and Maslow says it's physiological needs. But then you move on to wants. You got everything you need now. What do I want? But once you've got everything you want, what happens next? Well, comfort. You get comfortable having what you want until you lose a little bit. Maybe you stay in comfort, wallow around instead of pushing on and driving forward. But after that is purpose, legacy, which is a different one. It's a contribution. And you're doing that through the trust.
Yeah, I mean, I think in that sense with charity, I've had it all my life. I've been doing charity since I was 16. And then, I've evolved with having my own charity, Dame Kelly Holmes Trust, which is now 16 years old itself. So I've always had that side of me, and purpose is whatever you want to make that, right? So mine was to help disadvantaged young people fulfill their true ambitions or their life.
How young?
When they've given. So we work with young people now, 14 to 25, because actually there's those missing years where people think, oh, you're an adult after 18, but actually you're still finding life, right?
Yeah.
At that age, you've been, being told you're an adult and told now it's down to you. But, young people in areas of deprivation and disadvantaged backgrounds don't have the role modelling, don't have the structures around them. So actually during those primitive years of being an adult, they need more support. So our young people, which we've worked with a lot over those 16 years, have gone from either third generation unemployment, haven't got a network around them, whether that's parents, families, support structures, that's given them hope. So we do that. And, but that's always been embedded in me. It wasn't, I'm going to think, what do I want to do to give back? It was just, that's it.
So you started it 16 years ago. Why did you start it, though? What was the purpose?
So I always remembered my PE teacher telling me I could be good.
What's the name?
Debbie Page. And she's one of my friends, best friends now.
Debbie Page.
Debbie Page.
So if you could send Debbie a message now, what do you want to send?
Well, I send her. She's one of my mates. She's in my WhatsApp group. And I tell her, I say that, what would I send her now? She's heard it all the time. She was the first person that I called when I came back from Athens in my 2 Olympic golds. And I said, thank you. Because without her, I don't think I would have been the driven athlete that I was, or fulfilled that ambition.
That point, let's just capture that for a second. You've just achieved something of seismic magnitude, yeah? And you come back and the first thing you do is you thank the people that matter most in your life.
Yeah.
Who else did you thank?
My coach, Dave Arnold, who had taken me on since I was 12. I'd left him when I went in the army. He was crying the day I left. I went back to him in my early 20s, and he carried on with me right to my career. But the last 2 years became more of a mentor. And he was just somebody, you have different people in your life that are instrumental for whatever reason. I do believe that whole thing of people come and go in your life for different purposes and reasons. Friendship groups might be great. You might lose that friend. They served a purpose at that time, both you and them, and then they go. And so him. But I think it was more that I always thought that one person can make a massive difference to somebody's life. Just a conversation, just helping. It's funny. We're just having this conversation now and it's really irrelevant. But today, as we speak, I was at my local station. I went in to get a coffee. A guy had just come in the opposite door to me, and he says, "Oh, you go first, ladies first." And I went, "No, you go first, because I'm not, I'm not really into whether it's ladies first." He said, "Oh no, you go first, because I think you went through the door first." He was having a little banter with me, and I ordered my coffee, and he said to the guy, "Oh, I'll have the same as her." Right, so Kelly, because it was my local village. Yeah. Anyway, so I ordered my coffee, I brought it, and then I thought, no, I'm going to pay for yours. Yeah. So I paid for his coffee. And he went, no, you don't have to do it. I said, no, but you just, you let me go first. It was an act of kindness. I'm giving it back. Anyway, we ended up doing this whole train trip to London. And this guy's had cancer. He's literally in 2 years since he got known about this cancer, he's telling me all about this cancer. He showed me pictures of when he was really ill, having a stem cell transplant. He said he's in a really good place now. Now he flies helicopters. And I thought I've had the most fruitful conversation with this guy who's gone through the most traumatic, he's a year older than me, traumatic time in his life. And all because of those 2 acts of kindness. He let me go first. I paid for his coffee. We ended up chatting. I don't know who this guy is. His name's Gary. He lives local to me. Yeah. He knew my name. He knew who I was. And all I just wanted to do was say, oh, I'll pay you a coffee. I didn't expect the whole conversation going to London. So sometimes it's an act of kindness that makes a difference.
Everyone's thinking, how do you have your coffee though?
Have I had my coffee?
No, how do
I have my coffee? I normally have a mocha with soy, extra hot. There's always these kind of...
It's a posh one. It's a posh one. It's a mocha with soy, extra hot.
So, yeah, if you ever see me... Yeah.
Yep. So if you ever see Kelly, just like get behind her, have an argument who's first in the queue, order the same.
Yeah, you can go first.
Act of kindness. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, let's come to authenticity in leadership. Mm-hmm. Is the Kelly that we see right now authentic?
Oh, yeah, but I always have been, I think.
Has there ever been a moment where you've tried to be someone else?
Not tried to be somebody else. I've conformed to what society might believe.
Isn't
and
that
that's a
trying
look.
To be someone else?
No, that's mainly on a visual thing, you know. Oh, everyone goes... long hair, so wear long hair. Everyone goes with a dress at an event, so wearing a dress. Stuff. It's sort of like, basic stuff. But I've never ever pretended I was somebody else. So, I just don't let people get close to me to know anything more.
What is authenticity?
Well, being true to yourself in terms of what you believe in, so your belief mechanism. Yeah. There's a different thing from not telling people something very personal to lying about pretending you're something different, to then kind of still having your beliefs and morals and whatever. So for me, I've always had my morals, I've always had my beliefs and respect for things and people. I might not have told people something very personal to me, but that was to protect myself. I've never lied about it either. I've never pretended I was somebody different. So I feel like I've always been and led my truth, as in Kelly is hopefully respectful and whatever, and done good, but I've always protected myself.
Do you know there's all sorts of different fears? Mm-hmm. Just name a few of the different things that people are scared about, or that you might have been scared about.
Well, I mean, I was obviously scared about people knowing about my sexuality. I've been fearful of never achieving my dreams because I felt like they were at the time my purpose.
Is that fear of failure?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's fear of failure. The first one, I'll describe that one in a second. Any other fears?
Tarantulas.
Fear of spiders.
Rats. Snakes. Yeah. What else? Why won't I go on I'm a Celeb? Yeah. Because I'll be gold on TV.
You will be gold on TV. Yeah. So fear of spiders. Yeah, one of my little girls, she picked up this tarantula. Yeah. I wouldn't pick up the tarantula.
No. I mean, a little thing like that in the corner might get a little cup and a bit of paper and put it in. But no, I feel like oh my gosh. So I don't go on quizzes, for example, quiz shows, because I am so bad at them that I would just show myself up. Like I am so competitive with things I know I can do. And if it's physical, I'm on it. You know what I mean? I'm so competitive. But anything I believe, I am going to get this I get these real weird feelings when I feel out of control. It literally almost, what's the word? When you just, it's fight or...
Yeah. Freeze. There's fight, freeze, or flight. You stiffen up. I
get
feel pressure.
Freeze. Yeah, I get a freeze. Like even in the way I speak... I'm a speaker, like I go on, stages, fine. But if I'm in a position where I feel a little bit vulnerable or challenged or think, oh my gosh, I freeze. I feel like I can't actually talk. It's so weird. So I do have that middle ground. I can go. Yeah. I can just say I'm not doing it because I'll show myself up. Or I go into a situation and in my head I'm thinking, do it or talk, but I just go into this weird morphing.
It's an instinct, isn't it? It's a
yeah.
human instinct, you know, the flight, fight or freeze. And
Yeah.
it's quite reassuring for the listeners, actually, even the greats like Kelly Holmes.
Yeah.
You know, this happens because it's normal. We all face pressure and stress
We're all human, right? That's the thing we forget. Everyone's a human.
A couple of your fears that you're referring to is the biggest fear in the world.
Mm.
And do you know what the label is for the biggest fear in the world?
No.
The fear of judgment.
Oh, well, yeah.
You know, the fear of judgment. People are more scared of judgment than they are of death.
Mm.
You know, like, and public speaking is massive on it. You know,
Yeah.
but what will people think? What will people think of me? And
you're right. I think that is my fear of judgment, of anything. So if I go on a TV show and I'm really bad, I'm like, oh God, I really show myself up here. You know, I'm not in control. I'm so out of control of it. But yeah, I think that is right. The fear of judgment for everybody, anyone, because everyone preempts what's coming.
But that going on TV, that's fictional anyway, because you just pause in that. I don't want to go on there because I don't want to kind of show me. You still got the choice to go on it or not go on it. I'm sure you've been invited many times, but fear of judgment gets people.
Yeah.
And how do you get over that? I mean, your sexuality.
Yeah.
Did you fear judgment?
Oh my God, yeah. Always.
For how
that
long?
was my life, like, yeah.
Since what age?
18.
Until?
52.
This episode is sponsored by AdSmart from Sky, making TV advertising affordable, targeted, and effective for businesses of all sizes. AdSmart from Sky works with thousands of UK businesses, helping them use the power of TV advertising to accelerate their growth and build brand fame. With a 6-week TV campaign starting at £3,000, it's a lot more affordable than you think. So that is a long time. It's 34 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
34 years. Builds up that fear.
It does. I mean, you know, the thing is, I suppose you give too much respect and presence to other people, because actually people that are strangers, you're allowing to control your life through the way that you think about how people are going to, you know, view you, and actually why we do this. But I suppose it's society, you know, because you hear how people are mistreated. You hear, you know, there's an element within judgment, isn't there? And sort of vulnerability and whatever, where you have different sides of it, and you can have the personal and physical kind of side of what that is, you know, what people are going to think of you and how they're going to react to you and whatever. And then you've got, from another side, you know, an economic type fear, as if people know one thing about him that you think are going to be judged, is that going to stop you achieving what you want to achieve? If it's going to stop you getting a job, if it's going to, you know, there's so many different things that come into your head, because one are either what you've seen or read or heard in society, but secondly, you personally, you go, well, if they know this about me, is that going to give a different impression? Are they then going to treat you differently? Is that then going to affect how people are with you, what work you do or don't get, what openings, how people then perceive you, just based on the fact that you're still that same person? But the moment you tell someone something different about you that they're either surprised about, shocked about, or don't really want to know, you get this whole other raft of effects on potentially on your life. And that's why a lot of people will stop at the fear point and go, it's better to live with fear than to live with what if.
Well, you did overcome it in the sexuality thing. I mean, you know, you finally at age 52.
Well, publicly saying, you know, this is the difference. You know, again, being in the public eye has its complications, because, you know, people, again, it's still putting the emphasis on giving other people the control and power over your whole life. And I maybe gave people too much control and power in my head. Yeah. It wasn't that they had it, because I didn't know, but when you have fear, all of the thoughts that you have are literally, you know, built up so heavily in your head and heart that you think the worst. Because when you're so scared of what comes out your mouth, what you're going to tell someone, what the truth is, whatever, it literally builds up so much that you then, the only person it's affecting is you. It becomes debilitating. It becomes stress, it then affects the mental health side of you, because of course all you're doing is living with this every day. It's not just a moment in time where you're thinking, oh, if I say something, they're going to worry, and then you just get on with your life. It becomes so ingrained in you that every day you're worried about, if you say this or if you do this, what are other people going to do?
Are you carrying any worries around anymore?
No.
They're all gone?
Yeah.
You're free?
Yeah. I really don't care what people think about me, and I think that for me is a power. It's like, if you have an issue with knowing more about me, which I didn't really want to tell you all because it's no one's business. However, it gave me the freedom now to be me and be, happy and jolly and chat and meet people. I've met so many people in this past 2 years that I've actually had so much free conversation with, and I make the meetings. I want to go and chat. I want to stay out for a night out with you. I never did that before. I can't believe how different my life is. Like, how can it be that different in 2 years?
Because you've
at this
stopped
age?
worrying about what other people think.
Yeah.
Now you're free. So if you had to say, this is how I did it.
Yeah.
This is how I've become, I'm not a worrier anymore. I'm totally free.
Yeah.
What would you say? This is how I've done it.
I think now being this side of that, it's easier obviously to talk about and to say, but I do feel that, there's so many people that live in this world with fears for lots of reasons, right? So I know that they will be going, that's a trauma in your life. To go through a fear, to keep that embedded in you, it is a trauma. And everyone deserves to live their life without that intent fear that's stopping you being truly to yourself. So I just feel that, firstly, I can say the other side is fear is freedom. Doesn't matter what it is. The other side of fear is a lot of people that want to support you, love you, be with you and hold you up. The other side of fear is a chance to become the person that you really truly should be. And I also think that, when you get to a certain age, it's not about kind of being pessimistic and thinking, oh, how long have I got to live? But when you get to a certain age, you do actually start to think, because you have people close to you that have become ill, who aren't here anymore, who whatever, and you just think, hold on. I think there's a time in life where actually your life matters, because I also speak to a lot of people who stop themselves doing things, and fear can come in all multitude of stages and situations, right? But there's so many people who we live our life for other people. You live it for your family, you live it for your work, you live it whatever. At what stage do we go, I actually matter amongst this, of all this world, and I feel like I matter? Because to actually take that and say, it doesn't mean that nobody else does, but it means that I've also put myself on that pedestal, and now I matter. Because now I want to make the most of every single day being happy and positive, because most of my life wasn't.
You said some incredible things in all of that, and I've just got a few emotions running through my veins actually when you're saying I matter, because I'm just in the shoes of all the listeners right now, and they matter. Yeah. And you're just giving them the confidence to. They're probably saying in their head right now, especially because I'm repeating it, I matter. Yes, you do. Everyone listening right now, you matter. Yeah. And that realization that you matter, that self-affirmation. Yeah. And voice in your head of you do matter is really important. But you before that you said the other side of fear, you've got to know this, guys, is freedom and loads of support. Yeah.
That's the most thing I could ever say to anybody. Because before that, all you do is you're worrying about every single negative action that can be given towards you. Everything is always on a negative when you're that side of it. And then when you go through, well, you know who you can trust, you know who's got your back and had your back all the time because they've still got your back. You know who wants to really help you move through that stage of life. And actually it just takes this huge ton of weight and anxiety and pressure off of your shoulders. And it doesn't mean that you suddenly change. I remember when I say I found my freedom, well, it was, but just kind of blurting out what I needed to blurt out. But it took a while of transition as well, though. So I go, the moment I came out publicly as gay, gave me the freedom. It gave me the freedom because now I've got off my head what I needed to say. It did have a while of transition, which everybody needs to know, is that you've got to now change the narrative in your head. Because everything you thought, I can't say this, I've got to watch this, blah, 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 goes. So, yeah, you can't one day be that person and the next day be a different person. You have to just learn to go, okay, now I can at least breathe.
What is, if you had to define it,
Yeah.
the narrative in your head? The voice in your head, if you like.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, for me, it was second guessing what people might think, thinking what they're going to say, how they're going to look at you, how they're going to react. Are they still going to be nice? Are they still going to care? Are they, just constantly going through. But I think when it becomes something like within marginalised groups, let's say, there's a whole new level of fear that some people that aren't in a marginalised group might not understand. And that can be broken down, whether that's, it doesn't matter really what it is, but it can be race, colour, gender, equality, it could be anything. But when you're in a position where you see society has had, oppression and disrespect for lots of different groups, and then you fit into a number of those groups, which I do, I didn't have to worry about that before. I didn't really have to worry about what people thought of certain parts of who I am, because I didn't know. So I go from one set of worrying about what people know to thinking, God, now everyone knows everything. And now I've put myself in the labels that I didn't want to be in. I didn't want to have labels on my head. I'm not a labels person. I still don't want to have labels on my head. But as soon as you open up, you become, now you can talk about, Black Lives Matter, da, da, da. And I'm like, God, I've never talked about any of these things in my life. And now suddenly you become a spokesperson. And that's maybe because I'm in the public eye, so it's slightly different. But I've now had to change that narrative over to say that, I'm not the saviour of all these people, because people have come before me, the whole average, there's always giants. We're on the shoulders of giants, which we are. But I also recognise the fact that you, me, people in the public eye have a platform. What that does is that you have a platform for people that don't have a voice. So how I feel now is that I'll use my voice for the good. I'm still very level in my conversation. I haven't suddenly gone into an area of I just talk about the rights of what people should have. I've come from the wider community, let's say. So I've got in my head now, my purpose is, you know me as Dame Kelly Holmes, double Olympic champion. You held me to this high esteem. Now I'm just telling you a bit more personal stuff, because actually it's given me the freedom to not have the mental health problems, to not feel like I don't want to be here in the world, to not whatever. So if you held me this high esteem, now you're allowing me to be happy. Now I can just talk to you about how that feels and what the conversation could be, or what the narrative could be if you find it awkward. So I feel like it's given me a better platform just to be more real about conversation, to hopefully, that gap in the middle, start to narrow it in lots of conversation.
Doing good in the world, you've made me reflect on it. I study the greats. I've been studying coaching now for the best part of 3 decades, and this was a business coach, and he wrote a number of books. He's wrote a book called Sumo, Shut Up, Move On.
Oh, okay.
He talks about worrying and worrying as well in another book. But I learned from him, he said, encourage people. Never he's been working in business circles for probably 4 decades. And he said, never in all of my time of working with people to achieve things has anyone come up to me and said, the reason I failed is because I got encouraged too much.
No, that's true, right?
and it's clearly, it's a bit of a spin on words, but when you realise that, it's like, hang on a second, you've got to become an encourager. And that's what I got from you when you were saying, look, this is my platform. Yeah. I'm not anyone else. I'm just down with you. And if this is a platform where I can encourage people to have a good life, and that's what I was hearing when you were saying it. We should all become encouragers of doing the right thing. Yeah,
and sharing is really important, because you'll always hit a nerve with someone somewhere, and I used to think, so obviously coming out of being a speaker anyway, I had enough to talk about. I'm an army veteran, you know, I'm an Olympic champion, Dame, all these things that I was and am. And then you add another layer onto it, fine. But I thought that what I feel, you say the word encouraging, is to tell people like the truth about things, tell people how hard, because life's tough, isn't it? You know, not everyone is so privileged to think like their life is so easy, I can just go around whatever. Let's face it, that's a very small icing on the cake type people that you either want to be or you don't. Most people, it doesn't matter who you are and what you've achieved, have gone through some form of fight, disappointment, heartache, you know, whatever. But I feel that you get to a point now, if you're in a position where people will listen to you, they don't have to resonate with every single you as the person, the form. But if we have this position to go, right, this is what I've dealt with, this is how I've come through it. And it's just really, I think society's changed now for conversation, hasn't it? Because, you know, if I talk about mental health awareness, I was talking about it in 2005. Like, we weren't talking about how we talk about it now. It was like a taboo subject. People didn't want to hear about it. They were scared of talking about those conversations. Now it's so prevalent that it's going, right, if I talk about my personal journey and be open and honest about it, I'm someone in the public eye, what they do then is, yes, they might still hold me in this, oh, God, like Olympic champion, but they also go, oh, my God, this is somebody that's had to fight to get where she did, had to work hard to where she get, had the stress and anxiety like all of us have, but she still did it. So you give that positive around the negative and just go, look, balance, which is life.
Starting your own business was an exciting time, wasn't it? You knew you'd have to work hard, but you did it for your future. Lately, though, you're missing out on the important things in life. Time seems to be slipping by. So make the change. Claim back your work-life balance and grow your business today.
On that balance, how many positive thoughts do you have to overcome a negative?
Well,
it's not always one for one, is it?
It's not always one for one. No, for sure. I mean,
I learned from Jim McKenna. Jim McKenna is a professor in positive behavioural psychology, incredible speaker, and he said, James, resilience is born at the power of 3 to 1. He says that's resilience. That's the definition of resilience. You got to have 3 positive, constructive, forward-moving thoughts that you believe. If you don't believe them, they're not real.
Yeah. That
you believe to overcome a negative.
Well, you put that into sporting context. They say when you're at the top of your game, what is about the mental approach and the physical? And you say 80% is mental because you've done all the work. 20% is just doing the doing, which you do all the time. So it's the same as if you can keep reaffirming. It's like if you keep reaffirming negative issues and connotations and still go through all of that and you bring yourself down, you will stay down a long time. If you can start to bring positives into that, you'll change the balance.
Well, look, some greats have come before us. You know, they've done all of this analysis of human development, achievement, success in all areas of life, and the 80-20 analysis is widely accepted.
Yes.
You know, the challenge is, we've got all of this to do, but what's the 20%? What's the 20% that's, you know, you look at all this and you feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Overwhelm's real, isn't it?
Yes.
And have you felt overwhelmed recently?
Not most recently. I mean, maybe just trekking up mountains, which I've been doing. I've been to Machu Picchu. Got blooming altitude sickness. I saw the journey ahead. Like, that was quite overwhelming. But these are things I'm putting myself into. I think we can, but you can also, I think, you know, when you get so overwhelmed is because you're thinking of an outcome so far ahead. You don't even know when you're going to get to that end, right? I think what a lot of people don't do, and certainly something I'm definitely doing now, is being in the present. A lot of the times we look ahead at where we're going, right? So we're looking at where we're heading. But no one can get there without the steps before, right? Because if you go, right, I'm now going to, I don't know, climb this mountain, and you haven't thought about the journey, the equipment, like the altitude, how long it's going to take, what you're going to do, you can't go from the thought to the top of the mountain without thinking about all the steps. So it's kind of like we have to all be real about how many times we think about the here and now and this present. Like, what am I in control of right now in my life? I'm in control of how I feel, what I want to talk about, and what I want to do, because I'm thinking about it. I'm not thinking about what job I've got next week. I'm sitting in here in this room talking to the lovely James in front of me because my eyes are wide open and I want to do this well. So I do this. Then later on, I've got another job to go to, but I'm not thinking about that yet, because actually I don't want to go away from here thinking, oh, I did a really bad job because I wasn't thinking about what I'm doing. So I've started to regain the present, which I didn't do. I was always a goal setter, and I've still got goals, obviously, but I was always I'm going to be Olympic champion, you know. I don't know when that date was going to come, but in my head as Olympic champion, and maybe I wasn't in the present enough to think about my health and my well-being and how I was feeling. So I do think at any different stages in life, either if you've had a big impact, something's come to you, we have to bring it back to like the here and now.
I tell you what I got from that, actually. 80% of your thoughts in the present.
Yeah.
80%. And there is a leadership philosophy. It used to be the 70-20-10 principle, which is invest 70% of your time in the present, 20% of your time in the future, and 10% in the past. That's the 70-20-10. I've just, broadened it out to 80-10-10 probably.
Yeah.
Name the movie. Yesterday's history, and tomorrow's a mystery, and today's a gift. That's why they call it the present.
Oh my God, what is that?
Oh, you don't like quizzes. You don't like to be shown up, do you, or anything like that?
Exactly. Oh, great.
I was the fear of judgment is kicking in.
I must know it.
Yeah, no, you don't have to know it. It's an animation movie. 2009, I think. I was on a flight to China and watched the movie Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, really?
Kung Fu Panda, yeah.
I thought it was going to be something like Shawshank Redemption, you know what I mean? Or like Stallone.
Oh, I'll give you some quotes out of that. Do you know any quotes?
No, but I just love Morgan Freeman, do you know what I mean? His voice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he is.
Oh, I love him.
And we talked about that, didn't we, at BizX, actually. Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
I said I'd come to a fancy dressed up as Iron Man.
Well,
Then,
that's
but
right.
we'd also talked about Tom Cruise flirting with you,
Oh
didn't
my
we?
God, I know.
We talked about that, but
if only you knew.
people were saying to me afterwards, you should have said you'll come as Tom Cruise, James.
Yeah,
That's what they were saying.
Yeah,
So I've brought my Tom Cruise
Oh, you
jacket,
have? Okay.
and I've got my aviators.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm brought into that.
Yeah, you
brought
don't-
into that. You're going to take me on the flight?
If I brought my Tom Cruise jacket and my aviators, am I going to take you on a flight?
Come on.
Well, we'll see afterwards. We'll see afterwards, won't we?
I'll call up my mate Gary, who I was speaking to on the train. It's a helicopter pilot.
Is he an helicopter
Yeah,
pilot?
the guy I've been talking about.
Yeah. we did a helicopter over the Grand Canyon on our honeymoon. That was great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I bet that was amazing.
Yeah. Life's for
travel.
living, isn't it? Life.
That's it.
Get busy living or get busy dying. Name the movie.
See, I do know all these. I
You
probably
do.
watched
You've already
them all,
said
yeah.
it once.
Oh, yeah, right.
The Shawshank.
There you go. Oh, shut up. Anyway, cut.
Right. So let's just go back again for this fear.
Yeah.
The other side of fear is freedom and more support than you can even imagine. Now, but there comes a point where you've got to make a decision to go to do this or whatever it is, and then you said there was a transition phase. Is that the leap of faith? Is that the trust, the self-trust that you need to move from fear to this freedom area?
Do you know what? I think everyone's very different, obviously. For me personally, I'd got to a point where I just couldn't cope with how I was feeling anymore, and I was very much in the, I can't do this anymore. I can't live feeling how I'm feeling. And, for me, as much as the fear was, so overwhelming, the being in the position I was in was worse, because, I got, when you get so badly down and low, in your head, there is only negative thoughts. There is no positive in your life at that time. Doesn't matter what you do, present on a day-to-day basis, 'cause we can all put our game face on, right? it doesn't matter what you can still present, because we are very strong and resilient as humans anyway, and people forget that. But when every single thing you do and feel is negative, there's only one way: you're going downhill. I got to a point in life I didn't want to be here. Like, I just didn't want to be here. And I thought this one night, what's the point?
When was that?
It was in 2021.
And what time of the night were you waking up, or could you not sleep? Or?
Well, 1:30 in the morning, I had to send this emergency email to a psychologist because I just couldn't cope. It was like midnight, and all I've got is thoughts of not great things. And I feel now I was strong during that time. As much as my weakest time, I'm holding myself in my bed, because in my head, I'm doing what I thought I might do. In my head, my spirit was doing that, but I was also holding myself in bed. Like, that's how bad it got. I was in a bad place. I never ever wanted to speak to psychologists, so to even make that move to speak to a psychologist was like a strength, really. So at your most vulnerable and your weakest points, and I've had a multitude of them, but in different scenarios, my biggest strength at that time was to make the call for help, which I'd never done.
That phrase there, we should really quote this, Kelly Holmes. Make that move. Make the move, make the call, then you said, actually, as a second one, make the call.
Yeah.
And
make the call for help.
That is an action. I mean, one of my friends, actually, that's in the public eye, she was facing a lot of adversity from the media, from the press, like really bad, and ridiculously overwhelmed and stressed, a little bit similar to what you and she didn't know what to do. There was no good moves. And I learned this from Chinese coaching philosophy, where sometimes there are no good moves. So what you got to do is you got to make a move. You got to look at them and you got to make a move. And what happens is then over time unfolds second by second, and more moves present themselves. Yeah. And then eventually, if you keep making the moves, a good one happens. Yeah. And you're like, wow, I can jump on that. Yeah. And I remember I had this call with her on Christmas Eve. And it was make the move. But what I didn't realise, she'd already made the move. Okay. She phoned me up.
There you go.
That was the move.
Yeah.
That was the move. I'd sent a text and just the support, like that support around, like what you're saying. Yeah. But make the call, that is a move. Yeah. If anyone listening right now is overwhelmed, call someone.
Yeah, call, speak. I think about that, and people go to me, did you not have anyone around you? I had best friends ever. Like, I've got friends who I've had since day one of school, I've got great people around me and family. But sometimes in your life, you don't think of them at the time because you just think they don't understand, they'll never get it, they're just going to be quite flippant with it. Oh, well, it doesn't matter, no one's going to care, da-da-da. So you have to find the external support. But I also do say that every single one of us have an action we can take. We can remember the closest people to us and go, okay, we know they'll be fine. It could be a friend, right? Or family member. We all know that, and it could be a friend, a family member, or a colleague, right? Because there are actually people we're all so close to that they would hate the fact that we're suffering. And then you have remarkable charities out there that do this day in, day out, that have phone lines that can be private, you can reach out, and they are trained for that call. And then as a professional, that if you don't ever think like I did, that they can ruin your career because they go out spouting about you and, they lose that. They're professional people. They are not allowed. It's such a private thing. So I always think, out of those five, you've got a friend, a family member, a colleague, a charity or professional. All those people when in that circle that can just help that one night you need them or that one day.
That's your A-team. Cool. That's the A-team.
That's it.
You call the A-team.
Yeah.
Nice. Something else you said earlier on was giving too much respect to other people. Have you heard of the concept, I'm okay, you're okay?
I have.
Now, that's built on a premise of self-respect and respect for others.
Yeah.
And it's a philosophy of life, really. It's another guy called Stephen Covey. He wrote the book 7 Habits for Highly Effective People. He's also very good on leadership in this area. He talks about developing win-win relationships. And we all have two options. It's win-win or no deal. But what win-win means is I've got respect for myself and respect for others. You know, it's because what we don't want to do, we don't want to move away. Let's say I experience what you were experiencing, where it's giving too much respect to others. All of a sudden, then just everything be about yourself and not respecting other people at all. Then that becomes win-lose.
Yeah.
So have you got like a win-win mentality about everything now? It's like respect for yourself.
Yeah. And
respect for other people.
Yeah, I mean, I've always had respect for other people, and certain, you know, in terms of, for me, the grade of where people sit in society, you know, I'm thankful for the person that's, you know, clean my toilet that I'm going to, you know what I mean? Because I think, gosh, you know, that's your life. Thank you very much, you know, to respecting people who have done high profile jobs. You know, for me, respect is a two-way thing anyway. It's how an action people take, how people respond, the interaction you have. If somebody's rude.
What do you respect most about yourself right now?
Hi, I am Rachel Riley, and I'm really pleased to tell you that I will be the host of BizX 2025. 3 days of speaker sessions, interactive events, and a few surprises along the way.
If you're an ambitious business owner eager to unlock the next level of growth, get more information at thebizx.co.uk.
Looking forward to seeing you there.
Oh, that's a good one. I think to myself, do you know what? You're lucky to be the person you are. You know what I mean? I'm lucky to have gone through everything I've gone through, both the highs and lows, to come out in the person that I am to this day. So I respect who I am, that I can articulate to people what I've done, if I can help people. You know what I mean? I don't really know what exactly I respect of myself, but you know, I know I'm a hard worker. I'm determined. I never give up on things I believe in. I never give up on people I believe in. I take the rough with the smooth.
That's 5 things.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing. I mean, I remember going up the mountain. I've just come from recently from St Lucia, climbing the Pitons, and I'm up there on one of them. I went to Mount Jimmy, and it was tough, and I'm going up on this other mountain, and I'm thinking, God, people would just go to me, why are you doing this? Like, why do you just keep going? I think, you know, climbing to this mountain, in my head, I've set myself, I'm going for this mountain because I want to do it. I respect myself enough to still be driven, because I hate this whole aging thing. People go all about aging, and I say, oh God, I don't want to age. And I respect that I'm this age. I'm so grateful to be, oh gosh, here we go, stomach's talking. Respect that I'm this age. I love it. I don't like aging because I want to still be good, but I'm thankful of getting older. You know, there's all these different things that go in your head, because I'm now at the age that I'm at, that I feel like quite lucky to have done what I've done, to still be in that mindset of being driven as an individual, to being in the present now, but knowing that I promote that. I drive who I am. Like, I drive my change. I drive my growth. I reflect on what I've done, on things that maybe not happy with, but I don't wallow in them anymore either.
That's 10 things now you've said.
Yeah, so actually maybe I'm quite happy with myself right now.
Yeah, you should be. Well, that's a lot of respect.
Yeah.
That's a lot of self-respect.
But I think people should have that. People forget to pat themselves on the back when they're going down. People forget what they've gone through.
Maybe the listeners should also ask the question, what do you respect most about yourself? When you make the list, you start feeling good, feeling strong. You know, there's another psychologist, he said, confidence is keeping promises to yourself. I've added loads to that list. You know, confidence is taking action. Confidence is telling the truth, facing the truth, accepting the truth. It's being honest to yourself. And what is confidence from your perspective?
Well, all of those things that you mentioned, really. You know, confidence is...
Where did you get the most confidence in life?
From ability. I could run.
Right.
So that was easy.
Getting good at something.
Yeah.
Mastering something.
Yeah.
And, you know, that there's a footballing coach manager, actually, you know, an aspiring Premier League manager, actually, who was sat in this seat. And I asked him the same question, what's confidence? He says, confidence comes from competence. You get good at something.
Yeah.
You work hard and you get focused, you get good at something, and watch how confident you get.
Yeah.
You know, that's dedication.
Repetition, hard work, determination, not giving up. I mean, everyone has it. Everyone has the ability to be better. Just some people give up too quick.
Got a few quickies. Well,
I don't know. I'm not very good at these ones.
What's the scariest decision you've ever made?
To come out publicly. But the hardest, it's so weird, you know. I mean, I've been engaged since I was 18. It's not like I didn't know. But, you know, to sit there in front of a camera and actually say those words and you just, you know, I'm like, to speak, that's the freeze moment where you just think, I don't know if I want to now.
Have you got a method for dealing with the freeze?
I've started to try and use a bit of breathing techniques and, you know, because people go, do you get nervous when you go out on stage? And I think the only time I ever got nervous going on stage is because I'd seen from the back of this big arena, and it was at a conference, and it was tons of women. It's like 2,500 women in this massive hangar. And they're dancing on the tables. They've obviously been jeered up by these singers and these whatever. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, I've got to speak at this thing. Because it was like the energy in the room. And I was thinking, I've got to bring the energy back into the room. And it was the first time I actually thought, oh, my God, you know, and I'm breathing. And I just thought, like, you've been in so many positions in your life where you've had to take that step over in the track, you know, standing in an Olympic stadium trying to go for your gold, getting back from an injury when nobody knows, you know, so many things, being in the army, doing a weapon test, going in a chamber with a gas mask on. You've had so many moments. It's another moment. So don't make it such a massive bloody mountain. Just walk out and do what you normally do, because we preempt then failure. Everyone preempts the negative and failure. It doesn't matter what we do. So I just had to breathe and just think, right, whatever comes out. And it was one of the best things. I had 2 standing ovations from 2,500 people, you know what I mean? And I had the best one because I went off their energy instead of just going like in Michelle. But it's hard, isn't it?
I witnessed one of your standing ovations. I mean, yeah, that was pretty incredible. What does it feel like getting a standing ovation?
It's amazing, especially in the position now, even more. So like I said, I've been a speaker. I love the response. And I think because I just speak about lots of different things, I know it is my life. I want to try and change it around to not just be about me every time I speak, because it's always about me. That's what people ask me. But I have so many subjects that I am interested in that I'd like to bring. That's my mission for 2025. But I have to say, the response I get now of being totally transparent about everything, but to put it into the different areas that I'm interested in. So mental health awareness, men's mental health in particular, having served with lots of guys in the military, women empowerment and trying to get women to actually step up and believe and stop just putting themselves down all the time. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, you know, leadership or high performance or whatever, you know what I mean? I've got so many interests, but now because I talk about diversity inclusion amongst it all, and not just about being gay, just about how we are all something more than just what we're perceived to be. You know, that word intersectionality. There's so many actual people that sit into the word intersectionality that have lots of facets in there, but they only maybe look at themselves as one in society. And actually, no. Actually, there's more to you if you break it down to most people, a lot of people that we interact with. And the responses I have got from just literally now being who I need to be, it's just that's overwhelming. It's actually more overwhelming now that people accept, because I see in my room, I look in my rooms that I speak to and I see lots of men and I see lots of people from different parts of the world. And what I'm talking about, there's a lot of vulnerability talking about lots of the subjects depending on the part of the world or the audience. But because I'm just being me, I'm not pushing it to you. You don't have to agree, you don't have to whatever, but let me talk about it. And the responses have been overwhelming, because I just think, God, normally I'd be so petrified of saying things in front of people.
I think it's the vulnerability and honesty.
Yeah.
You know, people like it. It's a removal of ego, actually. I don't think the world likes ego anymore. You know, the bravado that comes with it, and it's unrelatable. So maybe people relate to you. I mean, I know our audience do.
Yeah, but the thing is, I literally have always been that person. I suppose what I'm bringing to it is more of an energy about it and a buzz, and up until the point of not saying I'm gay, I've been open with my mental health and all of those things. It was just the extra bit that was for me, not for other people. So, but I enjoy, like, I can now be bubbly, I have crack a few funnies. I don't really know what people think. But that's still because I've got respect. Yeah. I still have respect of other people. Well, you mentioned respect. Yeah. I still have respect of other people, other people's views, other people's things, but then respect me and my views as well. Then we're going to get along and it's going to be fun.
Win-win.
Yeah.
What's the most beautiful thing in the world?
Travelling.
Where's your favourite place to travel?
South Africa.
Whereabouts?
Down in Cape, Franschhoek, Stellenbosch. Beautiful, most beautiful place I've ever seen. But I have an affinity with it because I used to race their train there.
Right.
You've seen the transitions, you've seen the changes.
How many times have you been there?
I've been going since 1993. I have a place there, so yeah, for a long time.
So you go.
I used to be there as an athlete.
You go several times a year now?
Yeah, twice now, really. But I like travelling. I think there's a richness in travelling. You meet different people from around the world. You see challenges in countries, and sometimes you got to say, suck it up, because actually you got it quite good where you are, because we can all moan about where we are. And actually sometimes travelling gives you the perspective on life that actually you're okay.
What's the best gift anyone can give anyone else?
Love, respect, support.
And encouragement.
And encouragement.
What's your favourite movie?
Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, it's the best, though, isn't it?
I love it.
The best.
I love it. I mean, there's some
Red.
brilliant ones out at the moment. Oh my God, I've just seen, if anybody, I mean, I am plugging it, I've just seen Wicked. It was literally Wicked. It was one of the best musical movies I have seen since, like, Grease.
I've seen Grease, the musical as well.
Yeah, because I didn't, some musicals, this was brilliant. Brilliant. You have to see it. If you've got kids, even if you haven't got kids, I haven't got kids, go see it.
I'll take the kids. I'll take the kids.
Brilliant.
In theatre or at the movies?
No, the movies. It's just come out, the new Wicked. Whenever this comes out in the podcast, come out on 2024, November 2024, on the 22nd of November 2024, the movie called Wicked came out, and it is amazing.
And favourite music or favourite song?
Oh gosh, I've got a lot. Mine are all a bit sort of dreary. They all seem like really dull.
Is there a song that you play before you go out on stage?
No, I used to play a song before I went out and run, which was Alicia Keys' If I Ain't Got You, and it was about my medals, not about any person.
Right.
Because the words were like, I don't want fame, I don't want fortune, I don't want anything, I just want you. And that was about striving for my gold medals, because I absolutely believe that was I thought it was my purpose at the time. It was definitely only part of my journey, but it was so in me that I thought I was going to win an Olympic gold medal. I mean, it took me 20 years of dreaming, but those words was, I didn't care about fame. I'm not about fame or fortune or whatever. I just wanted to achieve the dream, because that dream made me believe that was my identity for any sense of what people thought of me. It gave me purpose to be Kelly. Like, if I achieve that dream, that's all anyone has to think about me. Is someone that's driven, doesn't give up.
It's not about fame or fortune in life, is it? It's about happiness is life.
Yeah. I mean, like, let's face it, having money helps people. It gets people around. People will be listening and say, well, of course, money, blooming everybody wants more money. Yeah. We all want the next thing up. But if we keep striving for the next thing up, we're never satisfied with what we've got.
Try having a load of money and being lonely.
I mean, yeah.
See how much you enjoy life.
But even if you've got things, you still want something more.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we do is we keep thinking about what we want more of, instead of actually looking and going, oh, quite happy with what I've got now.
What's the first action that you would encourage the listeners to take now they've listened to this?
Oh, just look at yourself. Are you happy? Is there other things you want to achieve? Do you want to still be driven and live for you as well?
You might get this movie. We're on a movie theme in this, aren't we? Look in the mirror and tell me what you see. This was from a movie called Cool Runnings.
Okay. Oh, God, yeah, Cool Runnings, the Jamaican bobsleigh team.
Yeah, you even remember the song. And he said to Junior, look in the mirror and tell me what you see. And they told him the words to say, and it was, I see pride, I see power, I see a badass mother that won't take no crap off nobody.
There you go.
That's what you see in the mirror. I see pride, I see power, I see self-respect.
I think that is it. Because, and going back to that mirror quickly, I mean, you can cut how much you want of this, but going back to that mirror theme, I remember in Athens, 2004, in a Portaloo, for the 1500 metres final, looking in the mirror and going, come on, like literally had this overwhelming thing that I'm looking at me and I am telling me, do it. Because why should we not look in our mirror and see who we really are? Don't see the bad, see who you really are and why you're that person. And sometimes you've got to give yourself that self kind of preservation, like, come on. Because you can't rely on it all the time from other people. Because otherwise you're only living off of their energies and whatever. Sometimes you've got to grab hold of you and go, come on.
What advice would you give to young entrepreneurs, 12 to 20-year-old, at the start of their business journey?
Learn from experienced people. Have your eyes wide open, and remember there will be the rough with the smooth, but you have to take the rough first.
Well, this has been an incredible conversation. My favourite part, a couple of things. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I knew this was going to happen. You're just natural and truthful and vulnerable and just talk about everything as it is. But my favourite part was that on the other side of fear is freedom. And more support than you can even imagine.
Yeah.
Trust it. Make the transition. That was my favourite part. What was been your favourite part?
Just talking with you. It's been lovely. It's nice just to have that free-flowing conversation with, again, no judgment, no one questioning your authenticity. And if I'm myself, then great. That's what I want to give.
Kelly Holmes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, Kelly, where we going?
Oh, let's go, mate. That's
Kelly?
what I said. Is
Where
he going to come in with his aviator?
I was told we're going on a date next.
I'm here. And you know what? I'll take it.
A fun date.
Let's do it.
We're getting a helicopter.
Yeah.
We're going somewhere. Grand Canyon, maybe.
Yeah.